Hi everyone, this is Eagle News. I'm Ralph Cornell in Washington. It's Saturday once again, August 27, 2022, here in the nation's capital. The week's recap begins now. Helping people go forward with normalizing everyday life, but still dealing with COVID-19 cases across the country. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention streamlines its COVID-19 guidelines. Rossell Faria has the details.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention streamlines its COVID-19 guidance to help people better understand their risk, how to protect themselves and others, what actions to take if exposed to COVID-19, and what actions to take if they are sick or test positive for the virus. The latest CDC recommendations include keeping up to date with vaccination. These help protect people against serious illness, hospitalization, and death. The agency says it is important to stay up to date, especially as new vaccines become available. Instead of quarantining when you were exposed to COVID-19, wear a high-quality mask for 10 days and get tested on day 5. Regardless of vaccination status, you should isolate from others when you have COVID-19. You should also isolate if you are sick and suspect that you have COVID-19 but do not have yet the test results. If your results are positive, follow CDC's full isolation recommendations. If your results are negative, you can end your isolation. If you test positive for COVID-19, stay home for at least 5 days and isolate from others in your home. You are most likely infectious during these first 5 days. If after 5 days you are fever-free for 24 hours without the use of medication and your symptoms are improving or you never had symptoms, you may end isolation after day 5. Regardless of when you end isolation, avoid being around people who are more likely to get very sick from COVID-19 until at least day 11. You should wear a high-quality mask through day 10. In the U.S., the daily average of new hospitalization admissions due to COVID-19 is at 5,377. Current hospitalizations in the country is at 15,347. For more on the updates, visit cdc.gov. Rossell Faria, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In related news, the CDC recommends another primary vaccine series option for children ages 12 to 17. Again, Rossell Faria has the details.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, recommends Novavax's COVID-19 vaccine to be used as another primary series option for adolescents ages 12 through 17. This recommendation follows FDA's authorization to use the vaccine for this age group under emergency use. The CDC says available now, Novavax's COVID-19 vaccine is an important tool in the pandemic and provides more familiar type of COVID-19 vaccine technology for adolescents. Having multiple types of vaccines offers more options and flexibility for the public, jurisdictions, and vaccine providers. The CDC says Novavax's COVID-19 vaccine packages harmless proteins of the COVID-19 virus alongside another ingredient called an adjuvant that helps the immune system respond to the virus in the future. At present, for COVID-19 vaccines, categorized into 3 vaccine types, are authorized under an emergency use authorization by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The mRNA vaccines, the protein subunit vaccine, and the adenovirus vector vaccine. The CDC says none of the concurrently FDA-approved or FDA-authorized COVID-19 vaccines are live virus vaccines. Rossell Faria, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In other news, several states in the western U.S. will have to face water cuts in the coming year. Let's find out why from Anna Kui.
7 U.S. western states failed to come up with a plan by mid-August to reduce their annual water use of the Colorado River by 2 to 4 million acre-feet next year, prompting the federal government to issue cuts that will affect Nevada, Arizona, and Mexico. The Tier 2 water reduction will decrease Nevada's water share by 8%, Arizona's by 21%, and Mexico's by 7% in 2023. This comes as the Bureau releases its August 2022 24-month study report showing water level projections at Lake Mead and Lake Powell. Lake Mead, about 34 miles from the Las Vegas Strip, is where Southern Nevada gets 90% of its water supply. And according to the Southern Nevada Water Authority, or SNWA, Lake Mead's elevation has fallen about 170 feet since 2000 and more than 24 feet so far this year, dropping the lake's capacity to about 27% due to the extreme drought conditions. While a Tier 2 water shortage requires Southern Nevada to forego 24,000 of its 300,000 acre-foot allocation from Lake Mead, SNWA says it won't have customer impacts in the short term. It says water used last year was 242,000 acre-feet, which is well below the shortage threshold, and credits the community's comprehensive water conservation measures over the last 2 decades. This includes recycling nearly all of its indoor water use and actually returning that to Lake Mead, and also enforcing mandatory seasonal water restrictions. These, along with other measures, have reduced the community's water consumption from Lake Mead by 26%, even with the addition of more than 750,000 residents between 2002 and 2021. But still, with these new additional reductions, SNWA says Southern Nevada will have to redouble their conservation efforts and is considering additional measures, including a ban on new man-made lakes and fountains and additional restrictions on golf courses, just to name a few. Anna Cui, Las Vegas, Nevada, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
A bill before the California legislature could mean big changes for fast food restaurants. Details from Ika Era.
If this legislation passes, it will alter the relationship between restaurant workers and the fast food chains they work for. The bill would make the fast food corporation, and not just the franchise holder, liable for labor law violations. That means workers would be able to sue the fast food chains for things like wage violations and unpaid overtime. As well, the franchise holder would be able to sue the chain if they were put in the position of having to violate labor laws to fulfill their franchise contracts. The bill will also set wage and labor standards for the fast food industry. While workers may welcome it, the proposed legislation has its critics. The state's finance department worries the bill will push up costs for franchise owners, who will then pass them on to consumers. The California Restaurant Association echoes these concerns. And a study by the International Franchise Association suggests if the measures are adopted, fast food prices could jump by 20%. Although the goal is to prevent what many call wage theft, opponents say wage theft occurs in many other industries. They add California already has stronger labor laws and higher wages than other states. Lawmakers have to vote on the bill by the end of the month to keep it alive in the legislature. Ika Era, Los Angeles, California, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Several stories today from Thomas Likeness, from dancing dogs to juggling grandkids to celebrating free days. But first, here's a not-so-happy story about a walrus in Norway who had to be put down. Here's today's correspondent at large.
And now news and commentary from around the globe. Selfies. That's my term for the pictures taken by people who have a penchant for posting every trivial detail of their lives on social media, no matter what they disrupt or who they endanger. Let me tell you the story of Freya the walrus. Freya lost her life over these endless selfies. Freya basked in the sun on the beach of Norway's Oslo Fjord. Minding her own business, she attracted crowds, had her picture taken thousands of times. But people just not content to take a picture at a distance, they kept getting closer, sometimes with their children. Now, let me tell you something about Freya. She weighs more than 600 kilograms, and all of this attention caused her to show signs of stress. But people would not keep their distance, just gotta have that selfie. Walruses are not normally aggressive to humans unless they feel threatened by intruders. So to keep the public safe, authorities reluctantly euthanized Freya, fearing an attack was imminent. When will people begin to realize that wild animals are wild and dangerous? Respect wildlife. Keep your distance. Forget that Walt Disney version of Mommy Nature that these animals are friendly. And forget about those selfish selfies. Off the coast of Italy this week, a luxury yacht was lost at Davy Jones' Locker. No one knows what caused the 40-meter boat to sink. It was just 15 kilometers offshore. The Italian Coast Guard managed to fish all 4 passengers and 5 crew members out of the sea. That yacht was worth millions. Not sure if the owner was one of those on board. An investigation is underway. In Myanmar, a grandfather trying to revive the art of juggling. On Myint is teaching this skill to his granddaughter, Han Myint Mo. Now watch how she catches a metal ball on the blade of a knife. This isn't conventional juggling like you see buskers doing in North America. Take a look at this. In this art form, performers move grapefruit-sized globes around their bodies using the feet, knees, shoulders, and elbows. It's believed to have originated in the 19th century when performers at the royal court began juggling with balls of blown glass. Myint says he tried passing on the skills to his children, but they were put off by the hard work and discipline required to master the art. His granddaughters, however, want to learn. Right now, Grandpa and the girls do shows in malls and schools. They've also performed online as well. The latest in technology recently on display at the World Robot Conference. It was held in Beijing, China. Some of the gadgets included a robotic arm that can do COVID tests, a barista robot, and I like this one, dancing dogs. Let's pick up some of the action from these crazy mechanical canines. And the best part, these hounds don't have to be housebroken. You know, in case you missed it, last Sunday, August 21st, was World Laziness Day. It's a big deal in Natagui, Colombia, where the celebration originated back in 1985. They hold a parade to celebrate laziness. Organizers say they want to promote the healthy and positive use of free time. They say there's more to life than work. And I like some of the justifications for laziness. You know, it helps the economy. Think about it. When you're too lazy to cook, you go to a restaurant. When you're too lazy to clean your house, you hire someone. And it goes on. All this talk of laziness makes me yearn for a day off. Back in 7 days, and in the meantime, well, I figure out what chores not to do in my free time. I wish you all peace, joy, and happiness in the ensuing week. Thomas I. Likeness, correspondent at large, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
These days, we cannot afford to be lazy. That's for sure. In other news, celebrating youth empowerment, the capital city of Papua New Guinea brings together its young residents for a day of building confidence and learning self-defense. Here's Echo Ortaleza Quinola on Oceania at a glance.
Youth residents of the capital city of Papua New Guinea are the center of attention as Port Moresby's Active City Development Program hosts International Youth Day and World Wushu Kung Fu Day. Director Fazila Bazari invites the Papua New Guinea Shaolin Kung Fu Wushu masters and students to remind the youth of the importance of life, health, and hard work to thrive in one's field. Sports manager Kila Dick encourages the young women to learn self-defense strategies.
Sports is a very powerful influence in Port Moresby as well as the country. Sports in Papua New Guinea is a meta activity, and we have a lot of young people going through sports to showcase their potential. For me, I see the importance of self-defense for both men and women, for them to defend themselves, particularly women, because we have violence in our city and around the country. So to protect their families and protect themselves. It's relevant for the young girls to come and do this training.
Other physical exercises showcased this day are dances, circus, kickboxing, and karate. Empowering youth mentally, physically, and emotionally truly helps create a safe, smart, and healthy community. Echo Hortaleza Quinola, Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In South Australia, efforts to end the pandemic are still in place, with the state's health department pushing residents to continue their vigilance in fighting COVID. Aubrey Asanyon reports.
South Australia, or SA Health, releases an update on new and current COVID-19 cases within the region. As of August 19, there have been over 1,000 new cases of COVID-19 reported in South Australia. Currently, there are 8,000 active cases in the state. Close to 250 people are in hospital, with 7 confined in the ICU and 2 under ventilation. SA Health says 2 people who tested positive for COVID-19 died this month, a woman in her 60s and a man in his 90s. COVID testing continues in South Australia, as well as vaccinations and boosters. The state encourages people to wear face masks when out in public to avoid infection and to help eliminate the spread of COVID-19. Aubrey Sanyon, Adelaide, Australia. Oceana at a glance, Eagle News.
Speaking of getting vaccinated, in Pennsylvania, families with school-aged children are once again encouraged to keep their kids' immunizations up to date. Mala Simbulan reports on this week's Health is Wealth.
August is National Immunization Awareness Month. This annual observance highlights the importance of getting recommended vaccines. The Pennsylvania Departments of Education, Health, Human Services, and Insurance remind families to ensure their children's immunizations are up to date as part of back-to-school preparations. In recent years, a change in state regulations altered the provisional period in which students could attend school without their vaccinations from 8 months to 5 days. As a reminder, children in the grades K to 12 need the following immunizations for attendance: tetanus, diphtheria, polio, MMR or measles, mumps, rubella, hepatitis B, and chickenpox. Children entering the 7th grade also need additional immunizations of meningococcal conjugate vaccine and tetanus, diphtheria, axillular pertussis. If a child does not have at least 1 dose of the above immunizations, they risk exclusion from school. Additionally, while the COVID-19 vaccine is not mandatory to attend school, the Wolf administration encourages Pennsylvanians ages 5 and older to get the COVID-19 vaccine to help ensure their safety during the 2022-2023 school year. Under the Affordable Care Act, most insurance plans, including those bought through Penny, as well as the Children's Health Insurance Program or CHIP, and Medicaid, are required to cover school vaccinations as a free preventive service without charging a co-payment or co-insurance. Myla Simbulan, Eagle News, Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. We live in extraordinary times.
Still on vaccines, the City of Toronto in Canada sets up COVID vaccination pop-up clinics at big events happening in the neighborhood. This to increase the number of residents protected against complications due to the virus. Joshua Santillana reports.
Toronto Public Health is bringing COVID vaccination clinics to several iconic events in the city, like the Canadian National Exhibition, or the X, Taste of Manila, and the Toronto Chinatown Festival, encouraging event-goers to get their next COVID vaccine. The CNE is Canada's biggest community event and one of the most iconic fairs in the continent. From live entertainment, concerts, exhibits, and air shows to plenty of games and food, it remains one of the most popular summer events in the city. Alongside the CNE, the Taste of Manila and Chinatown festivals are gathering large crowds looking to enjoy food and entertainment from each respective culture. The month of August remains the busiest in the city of Toronto. This year, with many residents and guests roaming the city's streets, Toronto Public Health is taking advantage of these popular events to promote COVID vaccinations. These pop-up clinics are offering anywhere from first to fourth doses of the vaccine, as well as pediatric vaccines to eligible residents. With these pop-up clinics, the City of Toronto hopes to encourage more people to stay up to date in their vaccinations while enjoying the last summer festivities, preparing the city for the upcoming fall and winter seasons. Joshua Santillana, Toronto, Ontario. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Focused on reducing anxiety in children who battle cancer, a new study is looking into virtual reality as a means to do just that. Lessen stress when kids are in treatment. David Oria tells us more.
A new research study conducted out of Lawson Health Research Institute and Children's Hospital at London Health Sciences Centre is using virtual reality, or VR, to examine its role in minimizing fear and anxiety in pediatric patients during painful medical procedures. The study aims to look at cancer patients between the ages of 5 and 17 who require port access, a reservoir that sits under the skin where a needle can be inserted to do blood work or give daily medication. Port access is a routine part of patient care. However, it can be painful for many patients. There's no surprise that children often feel nervous and anxious, especially with difficult prior experiences. However, the research team believes that VR can be a powerful tool for both children and parents in managing pain and reducing the detrimental impacts of anxiety. The researchers are almost finished recruiting their goal of research participants. These patients will be randomly divided into 3 groups. One will have access to VR technology during the procedure. The second will view programs or games on tablets and iPads. The third will have no technology at all. The team has hopes to show that VR technology will make cancer treatment for kids much more tolerated, and they hope that VR will help healthcare workers assist children with invasive procedures as a drug-free approach to reducing patient anxiety. David Oria, Health is Wealth, Eagle News.
Good news for farmers who wish to transition to organic production. The Department of Agriculture announces a $300 million initiative for farms in the country to see the process through. Here's Chrisan Fergata on Down to Earth.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture, or USDA, announces its $300 million investment, including American Rescue Plan funds, in a new organic transition initiative. The initiative aims to help build new and better markets and streams of incomes for farmers and producers. The FDA says organic production allows producers to hold a unique position in the marketplace. This means they take home a greater share of the food dollar. USDA says the number of non-certified organic farms that actively transition to organic production has dropped by nearly 71% since 2008. Through the initiative, USDA hopes to reverse the trend. The initiative will open opportunities for new and beginning farmers and expand direct consumer access to organic foods through increased production. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack says through this multi-phase, multi-agency initiative, they are expanding USDA's support of organic farmers to help them with every step of their transition as they work to become certified and secure markets for their products. Chrisan Fergata, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In related news, it is all about locally grown produce in Corpus Christi. Farmers are the stars of the show as the city in Texas joins the rest of the country in celebrating Farmers Week. Jane Kathleen Gregorio takes us on a tour of Grow Local Farmers Market, which connects the community with local growers and sellers in South Texas.
It's National Farmers Market Week, and in honor of this event, today we are visiting a local farmers market here in Corpus Christi, Texas, where we will explore the fresh products produced by local farmers and local businesses. Let's go check it out. Did you know that farmers markets help to stimulate local economies? According to a report by the U.S. Department of Agriculture in 2020, over $1.7 billion of direct-to-consumer sales were due to farmers markets and on-farm stores. For every $1 million of revenue earned, growers selling locally are able to create 13 full-time farm operator jobs. In Corpus Christi, the Grow Local Farmers Market event takes place every Wednesday evening at the Art Center of South Texas.
The farmers market has been going on for the last 10 years. The Grow Local South Texas, the nonprofit, has been in existence for the last 9 years. And this is a way to provide nutritionally dense food to our community. We've recently become approved by USDA to become a SNAP market, and we're getting ready to launch that pretty soon.
We are a Gulf Grove farm, so we have some vegan zucchini brand. We also have slices, pickle slices. We have a sweet and spicy. We have dill spears, spicy spears. We also have a fermented hot sauce, so we take fresh peppers and ferment them and make a hot sauce out of them.
We have our kettle corn. We use GMO popcorn, sea salt, organic sugar, and soybean oil, so it's all natural. And we try to stay the healthy part of the popcorn game.
Markets are important because it gives us the chance to meet people who we wouldn't meet otherwise. A lot of people don't know that coffee roasteries are really a thing. Coffee is one of those things I feel like people take granted for a lot. It's a whole art form. I mean, we spend hours every day just figuring out better ways to create better coffee for our community. So it's great to be able to just have conversations and introduce people to the specialty coffee world here at the farmers market.
My mother, Betsy Marin, runs the business. She makes all this. It's brittle. We go by Buddy Sweet Gem. She makes 7 flavors of brittle. She does fudge, praline, sugared pecans, and we have many flavors, and we have samples of everything if you want to try anything.
My experience in the farmers market was amazing. There's so many things to try. There's jams and jellies. There's tons of clothes. And there's tons of organic foods.
There's still ways that you can support your local farmer. So the best thing to do would be to let your friends know, let your families know that we're here every week and we don't stop year round, rain, snow, extreme heat. We're always here.
Jane Catherine Gregorio, Eagle News, Corpus Christi, Texas. We live in extraordinary times.
Helping the youth prepare for their careers, the District of Columbia reaches out to business owners and employers to host high school interns this school year. Jeff Sanidad reports on this week's Learning Curve.
Mayor Muriel Bowser says this school year, the district offers high school students new quality work experiences that will help them prepare for life and a career. The mayor calls on local businesses to partner with the district by hosting high school students for the school year internship that will give them hands-on experience in high-demand fields while getting paid and earning high school credit. This year, the Office of the State Superintendent for Education, or OSSE, is seeking to place 330 qualified career and technical education, or CTE students into a school year internship. OSSE specifically recruits employers in industries including architecture and construction, arts, audiovisual technology and communication, business management and finance, engineering, health science, hospitality and tourism, information technology, law, public safety and security. This school year, OSSE is launching the Advanced Technical Center. It is a centralized program in a well-equipped facility that will provide CTE course access to district students from high schools to prepare them for high-wage, high-skill and/or in-demand careers. Program offerings will include the following: cybersecurity, general nursing, health information technology. Jeff Sanidad, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
More Californians and fewer out-of-state and foreign students will be freshmen this fall on University of California campuses. Details from Ivan Sanchez.
More than 85,000 Californians will be in this fall's freshman class, an increase of just over 1% from last year.
It is the largest ever first-year class in the institution's history. But there's been a significant drop in out-of-state and international students. Acceptance offers to out-of-state applicants are down 19%.
And fewer offers have been made to international students, 12% less than last year.
First-year lecture halls will have a more diverse look as well. Nearly 44% are from underrepresented racial and ethnic groups. Hispanics are the largest group, followed by Asian Americans, Caucasians, and Black students.
Responding to public pressure, the universities have decreased the number of out-of-state students and international students they are accepting.
The new policy is to make the state's public universities more accessible to Californians. A couple of other interesting facts. Nearly half of California's first-year students come from low-income families.
And nearly half would be the first in their family to earn a bachelor's degree. Ivan Sanchez III, Los Angeles, California, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Amid soaring prices of everything and everywhere, households across America, particularly those with children still in school, face a back-to-classroom shopping list dilemma. Eli Austria tells us more.
It's a financial headache for parents and an economic boom for retailers. As well as the usual supplies of pens, pencils, and notebooks, children often pressure their parents for new backpacks, binders, lunchboxes, and electronics. New clothing is another major expense. With inflation at a 40-year high, it may be time to say no to the kids. A number of those items can be reused from the previous year. And if some electronic gadgets are needed, refurbished or used items are a way to shave some dollars off the back-to-school expenses. Experts also suggest families might consider getting together to buy products in bulk, which can yield savings. They also say, do your research, do comparison shopping. If possible, delay big purchases to Labor Day or even Black Friday, when many items are sold at deep discounts. Bottom line, this year, set some priorities. Stick to buying only what your child needs. Wants can wait for better economic times. Eli Austria, Los Angeles, California, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
3 of the 4 top finishers at the 9th and final day of the 2022 Vans US Open of Surfing in Huntington Beach, California are from Hawaii. And the youngest, only 17, Alan and Eva Vasiliahe on this week's EBC Sports International.
It's the final day of the Vans US Open of Surfing.
Swells are surging as it's a level competition at this year's event.
There's no feeling like winning, really. That's why we're all here, because winning is so special and it doesn't usually happen as often because everyone's super good. But yeah, the moment is big. Surfing and their fans is what makes the sport big, and super thankful that we do have fans that do love watching surfing, and yeah, it's huge.
The heat was going back and forth, and I knew it would, going into it. Draw was such a great surfer, and he's putting up big numbers all week, so I just knew I had to be real smart out there and be on the right waves. And towards the middle of the heat, he went on a wave that I kind of knew wasn't going to better his situation, and right after that, I got my, the highest score of the heat was just 6.9, and I felt like that was the turning point in the heat, and I really just had to manage him after that. This is my first finals day ever here at the US Open, so I've always watched it on the internet, like, wow, look at that crowd, all the people on the pier and on the beach. It looks like a stadium, and I love that stadium atmosphere. I feel like brings the best out of me, so I was really stoked.
Today was probably one of the best days for competition, just the conditions itself. Like, it's been so windy and so big and choppy, and today was just like total opposite, nice and glassy and like perfect. It always comes down to like the last 5 minutes. Like, sometimes if you're in a good spot and you've secured your place, like, you just want time to pass and you want the ocean to go flat, and it was kind of doing that, and that's when it like comes surreal. It's just like, whoa, and then once that horn goes off, you're just like in shock. I'm still kind of in shock. It hasn't sunk in yet. You want to put on a good show for the fans, that's why they're here, and especially when you're alongside like all the heavy hitters in the shortboarder division too, it just like, it drives you more to take the win and just have a good time.
This is definitely our biggest fan event of the year. We get the most people on the beach for sure, and I haven't competed here since 2008. So for me, it's great to be back and to see all the fans and get to interact again after COVID and everything. And yeah, it's just beautiful. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm one of the elder statesmen, I guess. You know, the kids are really taking it to a whole new level. You can see by the final it was mostly young kids. They're just taking it to a new place, and I'm stoked to see it. And I'm stoked to still be here kind of fighting for them for it. And they haven't pushed me out yet. But yeah, it's great. The level of surfing's really risen a lot over the last few years, and it's great to see it continue to do so.
The pros shared their reasons for surfing, as well as thoughts on how the water can be beneficial to everyone.
I surf because it's fun and my whole family does it. And honestly, that's why a majority of us do surf, because it is fun and it's a great way to connect with the ocean. So if you want to get out there, I highly recommend it.
I encourage everyone to try surfing at least once in your life. It's the most incredible feeling ever. And if you're not surfing, just get out in the ocean and enjoy it. It's good for you.
Whether you surf or don't surf, just get in the water, swim, go to the beach. Just enjoy life, man. Nature's a beautiful thing.
Nothing says summer in California quite like surfing at the beach. Whether catching the perfect wave
or soaking in the sun for that perfect tan, the Vans US Open of Surfing didn't disappoint fans looking to ride the wave of fun in the sun.
Even Allen hunted to Beach, California. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
On this week's Color My World, Jeff Sanidad takes us on an immersive journey of King Tut's tomb, featured at the National Geographic Museum. Take a look.
Imagine 100 years ago, Howard Carter holding a candle when he poked at the wall. When someone says, "Can you see anything?" and he says, "Yes, wonderful things." What was discovered then was the only intact tomb ever discovered to this day from the ancient Egypt, containing over 5,000 of what some considered the most significant artifacts ever discovered. This is King Tut, the Immersive Experience, an inside look from the National Geographic Museum in Washington, D.C. In celebration of the 100th year of the legendary discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun in Egypt's Valley of the Kings, National Geographic Museum presents the Immersive Experience. Visitors will experience a cinematic storytelling and soaring projection imagery as they venture into the boy's king world who ruled Egypt from the age 9 to 19. Tutankhamun, or most commonly known as King Tut. Journey to the modern-day Egypt and see wonders of the ancient temples at the Karnak, to see the monuments from the Great Sphinx, trip down to Nile River, and experience the history as it comes to life as the sun rises above the pyramids of Giza, filling the sky with vivid colors. Step inside the tomb and see the legendary sarcophagus recreated using modern and state-of-the-art tools. Make your way through Tutankhamun's life to know his family, his unexplained and mysterious death, and many more by way of entering galleries starting from the discovery of King Tut's tomb. We are joined right now with the Vice President of Public Programming and National Geographic Museum Director, Catherine Kean.
For anyone that's a fan of ancient Egypt, the Beyond King Tut exhibition is an opportunity to travel back in time to Pharaonic Egypt and experience one of the most famous pharaohs of all, King Tutankhamun. The young boy king is probably the most famous figure from ancient Egypt, and the discovery of his tomb was 100 years ago this November. The goal of the exhibit is to use new projection technologies to truly immerse our visitors in a subject that we know that they're very crazy about. In many ways, we want people to feel as if they've gone into a time capsule and gone back in time to a period in our shared history, which still resonates today. For National Geographic, this exhibit is an opportunity to experiment with media, images, and video from our impressive archive, and also to create CGI and animation experiences that didn't exist before about one of the most popular narratives from our history.
The exhibit is open until February 2023. Jeff Sanidad, Eagle News, Washington, D.C. We live in extraordinary times.
Before we let you go, enjoy these photos of Eagle News friend Sandro Gorizon. You can see here how 2-year-old Sandro already appreciates the benefits of sustainable gardening. Aside from harvesting vegetables for lunch, it also means playtime with boots covered in dirt. Sounds fun, don't you think? Thank you all for joining us again. If there are any stories or topics you want us to share with you, just comment below. View, like, share our other shows. City Limits with Alan Basiliahe. Connected with Dr. David. Take a seat and join us with Anna Kui. Plate Date with Mike Hudson and Friends. Plus, Journey. Stories of Filipinos in Canada with Kathleen Cruz. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Eagle News Live. I'm Rob Cornell. We live in extraordinary times. Happy weekend, everyone.